Wow. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting you to say that about Michael. Wow. Uh Dang, dude. I'm glad you're okay. I'm not mad at you for turning your back. A lot of people would be upset because, well, didn't you raise her or you were her father? You're all she knew. He wasn't the father. You have to understand it's going to be hard for him to look at that girl anymore.
Subject: My best friend slept with my wife. I caught them in my house while my daughter slept. Hey man, I hope this email reaches you well. My name's Sam, and I'm writing to you because I've been carrying this story on my chest for too long now. A family member actually put me on to your channel. Said you read real stories from men who've gone through heartbreak, betrayal, and all the kinds of hell people don't like talking about out loud. I watched a few videos and man, I felt every word like they were my own. That's what gave me the courage to sit down and finally tell mine. If you read this on your channel, maybe someone out there will learn something or at least feel less alone. That's all I want out of this. This story is about betrayal, but not just from a wife. This is about my best friend, my brother in everything but blood. His name was Michael. Michael and I met in middle school. I was this shy, quiet kid who liked to draw houses and build model airplanes. Michael was the loud, funny kid who could make the class laugh without trying. But for whatever reason, we clicked. I'd never had a real friend like that, someone who didn't make fun of me or ditch me when things got tough. He had this bright energy about him, but I'd come to learn that it came from a dark place. See, Michael didn't have it easy at home. His parents were both alcoholics. His dad was barely around, and when he was either yelling or passed out on the couch. His mom wasn't much better. I remember the first time I went to his house. It smelled like booze and sadness, dishes piled in the sink, trash not taken out for who knows how long. It was like walking into a different world. My parents saw that too. Over time, they started welcoming him into our home more and more. First, it was dinners, then sleepovers, then whole weekends. Before I knew it, Michael had a key to the house. My mom used to say, "He's like one of ours now," and he really was. We went through everything together: high school breakups, getting our first cars, getting drunk for the first time. He was the best man at my wedding. I would have taken a bullet for that man. After high school, we tried college, but neither of us really had the patience for it. What we did have was hands on skills. I loved woodworking, always had. Michael picked it up fast, and we realized we could actually make something of it. So, we started our own little woodworking company. We'd do custom furniture, decks, cabinets, whatever paid the bills. It started small, out of my garage, but it grew. People started calling us craftsmen, said our work had heart. We were proud of it. Somewhere in the middle of building that business, I met Maya. Maya, where do I even begin? She was beautiful, not just in the way she looked, but in the way she moved through life. Confident, smart, funny, and when she locked eyes with you, you felt like the only man in the world. We met through mutual friends. One dinner turned into a weekend getaway. 6 months later, I knew I wanted to marry her. And I did. We had a beautiful wedding. Michael stood beside me as my best man, delivering a speech that had everyone laughing and crying. He said, "If anyone's going to teach this man how to love like he builds a cabinet with precision and patience, it's Maya." We all laughed. I believed every word. I thought I had everything: a business with my best friend, a beautiful wife, then a daughter. Life felt complete, but man, nothing prepares you for betrayal. Nothing. We'd been married 4 years. Our daughter had just turned 2. Life was busy but good, or so I thought. That Saturday morning is burned into my memory like a brand on skin. I'd gone out to play golf with another friend of mine just to catch up and relax. About 2 hours in, he got a call and had to leave for a family emergency. I debated finishing the round solo, but something in me said, just go home, chill out. I wish I'd stayed. I pulled up to the house. Everything looked normal. Michael's truck wasn't in the driveway, which didn't surprise me. He usually let me know when he was coming by, and lately he'd been talking about seeing a girl in the next town over. I walked in, quiet, too quiet. My daughter's toys were on the living room floor, and I could hear her sound machine playing from her room down the hall. She was napping. That's when I heard it. Faint noises from my bedroom. At first, I thought maybe the TV was on, but when I stood still and listened, carefully, it hit me like a gut punch, rhythmic, repetitive, moaning. No, I walked quietly. Every step felt like I was wading through cement. My heart was in my throat, but my hands were ice cold. I opened the door. There they were. Maya, Michael, my wife and my best friend, naked, in my bed, in our home. While our daughter slept 2 doors down, I saw red. I didn't say a word. I blacked out. All I know is that I lunged at Michael and started wailing on him like something had taken over me. Years of friendship, loyalty, trust, shattered in an instant. I beat him so bad he cried. This man who had been like a brother to me, he curled up in the corner of my room, bleeding and crying like a scared kid. Maya screamed and tried to pull me off him, but I wasn't hearing anything. I eventually stopped, not because I forgave him, but because I was exhausted, disgusted, hollow. I packed a bag, grabbed my keys, and left. I didn't speak to Maya for a while. When I finally did, it was because she confessed something else. Michael was the father of our daughter. She'd gotten a paternity test behind my back. I didn't even ask her to. She just blurted it out, like it would somehow lessen the blow. It didn't. She said she needed to know, said it happened more than once, said Michael confessed he loved her. I don't even know how long it went on. She kept saying sorry, that it was a mistake, that it was complicated. But all I heard was betrayal. I filed for divorce the next day. Told her she could keep the house, the furniture, the business. I didn't care anymore. Everything in that town was poison to me now. Memories that used to make me smile now made me sick. And here's where it gets even darker. Michael didn't make it through the fallout. I won't say the full word because I know YouTube doesn't like it, but he committed the S word. A few weeks after everything blew up, he took his own life. His sister called me and told me, said he'd been spiraling, said he felt like he destroyed everything. I didn't go to the funeral. I couldn't. I'd already buried our friendship the day he betrayed me. Maya tried to reach out after that, said she was broken, said she needed me, but all I saw was a woman who burned down everything we built. I couldn't look at her the same way. And here's the thing that a lot of people hate me for. I walked away from the child too. Yes, I know I helped raise her for 2 years. Yes, I changed diapers and sang her lullabies and loved her with everything I had. But she wasn't mine. And every time I looked at her, I saw them. Their betrayal, their lies. I couldn't live like that. I know people will call me heartless, but unless you've stood where I stood, unless you've felt your world collapse under you while everyone you loved turned into a stranger, you don't get to judge me. My parents were furious. They said I should have stayed in her life, that she's innocent, that I was abandoning her. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am the villain in someone else's version of this story, but I couldn't stay. So I left. I moved over 1,000 miles away. Didn't tell anyone where I was going. I packed up my truck, drove for 3 days, and landed in a small town where nobody knows me. I rent a little apartment, 1 bedroom, no frills, just peace. I work odd jobs now, carpentry, repairs, some furniture commissions on the side. I keep to myself. I don't date, I don't party, I live simple, quiet. Some days are easier than others. Some days I wake up with that ache in my chest again, remembering everything I lost. Some nights I still hear the sound of that bed squeaking. that laughter, that betrayal. And yeah, I still cry sometimes, but I survived, and I'm still surviving. If you decide to read this on your channel, I just want to say thank you for giving guys like me a voice, for reminding us we're not crazy, we're not alone, we're not weak for hurting. My name is Sam, and this is the story of how I lost my wife, my best friend, my daughter, and my old life, but somehow I'm still here. Thanks for listening. Sam. Hey, true story. In my last email, I left off with me moving over 1,000 miles away from everything I knew. I packed what little I cared to take, bought a used truck off Craigslist, and left behind a house full of ghosts, a woodworking business that reminded me of betrayal, and a family that thought I was wrong for leaving a child that technically wasn't mine. I didn't care. I had to get out of there. If I didn't, I don't know where I'd be right now. This email is about what happened after, starting over. I ended up settling in a small town where nobody knew my name. I won't say the name of the place because I still live here and I like the peace. But it's the kind of town with 2 traffic lights, a diner where the waitresses already know your order by week 3, and where everybody waves at you even if they don't know you yet. I rented a modest 1-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. The place isn't anything fancy. Walls are off-white and the water pressure is moody, but it's mine. No memories here, no reminders, just silence and fresh air. For the first time in years, I could hear myself think. For the first couple months, I didn't do much. I slept a lot, ate frozen meals, read old books I brought with me. I didn't have the energy for much else. The depression hit harder than I expected. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the loss of everything. My best friend, my marriage, the daughter I thought was mine, my business, my reputation. I was grieving a whole life. There were days I didn't even leave the apartment. I didn't shower. I didn't answer texts or calls. I let my phone die for a week at one point and didn't even notice. I just stared out the window, wondering how things went so wrong so fast. But life, as it tends to do, kept going. Work and routine. After about 3 months of floating, I knew I had to do something, or I was going to disappear entirely. So I got a job at a local hardware store. Nothing fancy, just stocking shelves, helping customers, loading lumber into trucks. Funny enough, being around tools and wood again brought me some comfort. Not enough to jump back into carpentry full time, but enough to remind me of who I used to be before everything went sideways. The store is owned by an older man named Frank. He's in his 60s and doesn't talk much, which I appreciated. He hired me without asking too many questions. Just looked at me, asked if I could lift 50 pounds, and said, "Start Monday." That job gave me structure. Waking up early, making a pot of coffee, packing lunch, walking to work. The little things saved me. I didn't even realize how much I missed having a routine until I had one again. There's something about manual labor that calms the mind. When you're stacking bags of concrete or organizing nuts and bolts, you don't have time to think about what your ex-wife and best friend did. Your brain gets quiet for a while. That silence became my sanctuary. Maya reaches out. About 5 months into my new life, I made the mistake of charging my old phone. I only did it because I remembered I had some photos of my dog, Rocky, on there. Rocky passed a year before the divorce, but I still like to look at pictures of him sometimes. That dog was more loyal than most people I've known. When the phone finally powered up, the flood of notifications hit me like a truck. Over 80 missed calls, 200 plus texts, mostly from Maya, a few from my mom, a couple from mutual friends, mostly just saying things like, "Man, you okay?" Or, "I heard what happened. Can't believe it." I made the mistake of reading Maya's texts. Most were long-winded apologies, pages and pages of how she messed up, how she wasn't thinking straight, how she missed our family. She kept calling the girl our daughter, even though she knew the truth. Then the tone shifted. Around the 40th message, it went from apologizing to begging, then from begging to angry. She called me heartless, said I abandoned my responsibilities, that even if I wasn't biologically her father, I was there from the start. She said I should feel ashamed for leaving a little girl without a dad. That one stung. Even now, I still wrestle with that. I loved that little girl. I raised her, changed her diapers, taught her how to say daddy, took her to the park every Saturday morning. She was my world until I found out I wasn't hers. I didn't respond to Maya, not a word. I blocked her number, deleted the texts, and turned the phone off again. I haven't turned it back on since. Healing isn't linear. Here's something I've learned. Healing doesn't happen in a straight line. Some days I feel like I've let go of it all, like I'm finally free of that past life. Then other days, something small will take me right back there. A woman laughing in the grocery store who sounds like Maya, the smell of sawdust in the morning. A little girl holding her dad's hand. It's been a year and a half since I left. Some wounds have closed. Others still bleed when poked. But overall, I'm better. I don't cry as much. I don't wake up in a panic anymore. I've stopped blaming myself. That last part took the longest. For a while, I kept asking myself, was I not enough? Did I miss the signs? Could I have saved him? I carried guilt that didn't belong to me. Michael's death hit me harder than I thought it would. We weren't speaking, obviously, but when I got the call from his sister, I felt like the air got sucked out of the room. The S word is heavy. Even if he betrayed me in the worst way, I never wanted that for him. I still see his face sometimes in dreams. Sometimes he's smiling like when we were kids, riding bikes through the neighborhood. Sometimes he's crying on the floor like the day I found him in my bed. Either way, I don't think I'll ever forget him. Letters I never sent. There's a journal I keep hidden in my nightstand. In it are letters I wrote but never sent, to Maya, to Michael, to the little girl I once called mine. In one letter to Maya I wrote, "You broke something in me I didn't know could be broken. Not just trust. You took my best friend and my fatherhood in one blow. I don't think I'll ever forgive you, but I also don't hate you. That's the part that's weird. I should, but I just feel nothing. Like a glass that used to be full, then got tipped over and cracked." To Michael, I wrote, "I wish you would have just told me. I wish we could have had one final conversation before you left this world. Not for closure, but just to understand. I don't know why you did what you did, but I hope wherever you are, you're at peace." And to the little girl, "You were the best part of my life. I'm sorry I couldn't stay. I hope one day someone tells you the truth in a kind way. I hope you're loved. I hope you grow up strong. I hope you don't remember me as a man who left, but as someone who just couldn't stay in a lie." Where I am now. These days, I live quietly. I fish at a nearby lake every Sunday morning. I cook most of my meals now. Nothing fancy, but I make a mean chili. I've even started building small furniture pieces in my spare time. Not for a business, just for me. It helps. I go to therapy once a week. It was hard admitting I needed help, but it's been the best decision I've made since moving. Talking to someone who doesn't judge, doesn't try to fix me, just listens. It's been healing in a way I didn't expect. I'm not looking to date, not yet. Maybe not ever. Trust doesn't come easy these days, and honestly, I like my own company now. I spent so many years wrapped up in other people's needs that I never learned how to take care of myself. I'm learning now what I've learned. If there's one thing I've taken from all this, it's that walking away doesn't make you weak. It takes strength to leave behind a life you built, especially when you didn't break it. Sometimes staying would be the real coward's way out. I've also learned that family doesn't always mean blood. My family didn't understand why I left that child behind. They judged me, said I was heartless. But those same people didn't have their wife cheat on them with their best friend. They didn't have to hear a man sobbing on the floor in their bedroom. They didn't have to sign divorce papers knowing everything they built was a lie. So no, I don't regret walking away. I regret that I had to, but not that I did.
Can't look at her anymore. I mean, he could, he could be in her life as an uncle, I guess, but I'm not mad at men who find out that they're not the father and they walk away completely. No matter how old the kids are, they walk away. I'm not mad at that. I don't think that makes that person a bad person either. Oh, what a story, guys. Let me know what you think about this. Comments. Let him know what you think about this in the comments. I'm gonna catch you guys at the next one.